But a new conversation has started. And this is something that has just started in the last 24 hours. It had never even been discussed before. And that is the whole idea of allowing only fully vaccinated people to visit indoor dining areas. And if you're not fully vaccinated, then you stay outside the door if they happen to have outdoor dining. NPHET is understood to have recommended that indoor dining may only resume for those that are vaccinated or those who've recovered from COVID-19. And it's angered an awful lot of you this morning, I have to say. In fact, I'm running a poll on our Twitter, and I'd love you to take part in this. You can go to Adrian F. Kennedy on Twitter. And the question that I'm asking on Twitter is, do you support the idea of allowing indoor hospitality to reopen only for those who are fully vaccinated? So here's the result of the poll at this moment, and you can vote on it at any time on Twitter, at Adrian F. Kennedy on Twitter. And here is the results so far, and quite a few votes in so far. 38% of you are in favour of it.
They would be the vaccinated people.
Yeah. But the question that I asked is, you vote yes, it's a vaccine bonus, or no, it's discrimination.
Yeah.
So 38% of you have said yes, it's a vaccine bonus, but 62% of you have said no, it is discrimination.
Especially in a household where you have, say in my household, by the end of the week, I will have my second jab. I'll be fully vaxxed, fully jabbed. And my wife won't be. She's a bit behind because she's younger than me. Is that kind
so you can go out for dinner?
Does that
and
mean
she can stay at home
on Saturday night? I say I'm going out for a lovely Asian meal now. Nah. You're staying at home.
Yeah,
you know
okay.
that's what we're looking at here.
All right, well, we'd like to hear from you. Send us a WhatsApp right now to 085 825 2626. 085 825 2626. I am joined on the line by Professor Anthony Staines, Irish medical academic and professor, should I say, of health systems, working on public health and policy. Anthony, good morning and welcome to Opinions Matter.
Good morning, Adrian.
Anthony, this is kind of out of left field, this whole idea of maybe allowing indoor hospitality to resume with people who are fully vaccinated only. What do you think of this flag that has been flown?
Well, I think the biggest question there is, what about staff? Most hospitality staff are relatively young, not all of them, but most. And as such, most of them haven't been vaccinated yet. So there's a significant question there. How do we manage that? How do we keep the staff safe? How do we make sure they don't get infected? How do we make sure they don't spread virus to their families and their friends? And I don't think that's been seriously thought through yet. Where we're at nationally is that we've allowed this new variant to become established in our country, mainly probably from visitors from Great Britain coming over. And it's the nature of this variant that it will become the dominant variant fairly quickly. That's what's happened pretty much anywhere else it's been introduced. It is more infectious, and it may be a little bit more severe, but only a little bit more severe than the existing variant.
Okay, so NPHET, we understand, have put out, or their letter to government highlights, the potential for thousands of cases a day and for an increase in the death rate. Now, we know that the death rate at this moment in time appears to be very low, although we don't have the full figures at this moment because of the IT crash in the HSE. But we understand that the figures are relatively low. Is there a risk, if this variant were to become much more widespread and we were to have higher case numbers over the coming weeks, are we going to see more people dying?
Almost certainly, yes, but not on the scale that we saw in the first wave of the pandemic last year, or indeed in the scale we saw over Christmas, because the people at highest risk of dying have largely been immunised. Now, you do get to a situation, as they have in the United Kingdom now, where most people who die have been vaccinated, because that just reflects the fact that there's a lot of infection, and the vaccines, while they're really good, they're not perfect. But that is where you end up.
Okay,
That's
so
probably where we will end
as
up.
I said, this flag has been flown by NEFIT. It's the first time we've had this conversation here in Ireland of having, if you like, a vaccine bonus, so that people who are fully vaccinated may get to go to more things than people who aren't vaccinated. And you make the point about staff in hospitality and whether or not they're going to be protected. Do you think this is a runner at all, or is it just a flag that's been flown?
I think it's a flag that's been flown. It's very complicated. It sounds easy to do in theory, but in practice, it's very complicated. I have been vaccinated because I'm a nice person, you believe me. But how do I show that? How do I prove to somebody else that I've been vaccinated? I'm not just carrying around, my cousin's card, for example, because my card just has a name on it.
We've already been told that from the 19th of July, between now and the 19th of July, we will see the rollout of our travel passports, which will be linked to our vaccine status. So surely they could merge the two together, could they not?
I think it could be done. I don't know the mechanics of how it will be done. It's certainly not impossible. Is it desirable is a slightly different question. Because I do think the staff issue is a problem. I do think the discrimination issue is a problem. And I'm slightly concerned that people think that it's perfectly safe. When you're vaccinated, your risk of being infected is much lower. And I'm much happier now that I am vaccinated than I was, 6 weeks ago. But it's not zero. So we are talking, we've been living, we're talking about working out how to live with this virus. Actually, we've seen living with this virus. We've been doing it since last year, and it's not been much fun. This virus, we think around 10 to 15% of everyone who gets it has long-term harm. And that's extraordinarily high. It's much, much higher.
And this is what's commonly referred to as long COVID, where people are living with symptoms of having had the virus for a long, long time, in some cases months on end.
Months or up to a year. At the moment it's too soon to say how long these will last. But if they follow the pattern of other, what they call post-viral fatigue syndromes, and this is a bit different from the other ones, but if that is the pattern, most people recover within about 3 years, but not everyone does.
Okay, so as you know, Anthony, the government is today faced with this dilemma of what do we do with regard to this vaccine, with this virus. Do we allow hospitality to reopen next week? We also have the very confusing situation where you can have a hotel here with a full restaurant and a restaurant next door not open at all. Do you think the government should remain cautious and not open indoor hospitality next week?
I do, yes. I think what they should do, because there is something constructive they can do, what they should do is take all the steps that we can take to push case numbers down. And, this is stuff...
What does that mean? Closing up shop again?
No. The WHO told us in March 2020, right, that lockdowns were a bad idea for controlling a virus. They're a good idea to buy you time. Things are going to hell in a handbasket. You lock down, you bring things under control, and then you open up. But we've missed the bring things under control piece. And we know how to do it because quite a few other countries have done it. And what you're trying to do is drive your case numbers down as low as possible and keep them down. And that involves very routine but large-scale public health. It involves testing people. It involves identifying how people got infected. It involves contact tracing, and it involves supported.
But aren't we doing all of those things? Aren't we doing every one of those things?
No, not on the scale required. But let me take an example. Limerick, there was a major outbreak in Limerick a few weeks ago. With my public health colleagues and the people in Limerick, worked might and main to bring that outbreak under control. And that worked. But there aren't enough public health people doing it around the country. We still have the same number of public health people, more or less, that we had in March 2020, which is extraordinary. So other countries have taken their public health workforce and they've recruited 5 times as many people on a temporary basis to be the arms and the legs.
Okay, so despite the fact that we're 15 months into this whole thing, we, in your opinion, can remain kind of open, but we need to up our game in terms of tracking and tracing and isolating cases.
Yeah, if we did that, we could have, if we did it now, we could have a relatively normal August. If we'd done it 2 months ago, we wouldn't be having this conversation. We would be opening up indoor dining with a level of caution, a level of social distancing,
okay, now let me go back to this flag, as I said, that's been flown about indoor dining for fully vaccinated. Surely, and this has happened in other countries, surely there is something to be said, an argument to be made for a vaccine bonus, so that if you are fully vaccinated, as you just said you are, and I'm one of the fortunate ones, I also am, shouldn't we get a little kickback from this?
I don't think it's unreasonable, but you just have to make sure you do it prudently and right. It doesn't get you back. This doesn't get us back to normal. But if you can if you can protect the staff, I mean, for me, protecting the staff and hospitality is not really negotiable. If we're going to this, those staff are suddenly frontline workers. So
although you could argue, Anthony, that they are dealing with a clientele that are fully vaccinated. Now we know that there can be transmission and so on, but it's definitely safer to have customers that are fully vaccinated, is it not?
It's safer, but it's still a relatively high exposure situation, and they're required to do it. I mean, it's their job.
All right.
So I think there's an extra level of care is required.
Okay, so there is something to be said for the idea, but you think that the emphasis needs to be on tracking, tracing, and isolating cases in an even more intense way than we have already done. Professor Anthony,
these are not exclusive. We can do both.
We can do both. All right. Professor Anthony Staines, we really appreciate your time on Opinions Matter today. Thanks very much indeed. And there you go. So he's saying that there is a case to be made. It is something that can be looked at, but we need to up our game in terms of where we're at with this virus.
Anyone else just sick of hearing we're nearly there, we're nearly there, we're nearly there? The whole thing to me feels like a marathon where you're running for hours and hours and hours, and the man who's training you, running beside you, you're nearly at the end, and an hour later, you're nearly at the end, and the end
never comes.
When is the end coming? We were told, this last September, October, when vaccines were becoming a thing, and they were being rolled out, and they were going to be arriving on our shores, and we were told they were the silver bullet, if you will, that they were going to get us all back to normal.
Yeah, but they are. It's just not enough people have got them yet. So that's the reality of it. We're doing well.
Yeah. So what percentage do we need it at before we...
Or maybe that's what we need to be told. Maybe that's what we need to hear. What percentage do we need to be at?
By the way, we're never going to have 100% vaccination.
No, I know that, yeah.
There's a huge section of society that are afraid to get vaccination. That's fair enough. Like my mother and my sister went away last weekend, stayed in a lovely hotel in Wexford and were sending us photographs, having a meal from inside the restaurant. Now, COVID doesn't know that someone is a resident in a hotel as opposed to just walking into a restaurant. Do you get me?
Yes, and this is one of the confusions. It doesn't knock on the door of the hotel. Oh, you're okay. Yeah, we leave you alone.
COVID is not, less likely to infect my mother because she happens to be staying in the hotel she's eating in. Had I gone down to that hotel at the weekend and joined them for a meal, I couldn't have eaten at the same table as them because I wasn't staying in the hotel, even though I can eat with them in my house together.
It doesn't make sense. All right, one of our listeners has a number of questions that he wants addressed, and he sent us this WhatsApp voice note just before the programme began today.
Morning, Adrian and Jeremy. How's things? Just a quick one there on today's announcement that the indoor hospitality is going to be delayed until the 19th of July. What I'd like to know is, do you genuinely think we've any journalists in the country who can now stand up for the public and ask the tough questions of NEFA and the government on behalf of the Irish people. At this stage, I think morale will be on the floor with this news, and it's very fair to say we deserve some answers and we deserve the right questions to be asked. For example, will NEFIT's over-the-top pessimistic modelling be independently verified? Why are we the only country in the EU who will not allow indoor hospitality, even though our vaccination programme is hugely advanced? How come there are many other countries who have this so-called Delta variant but yet have indoor hospitality allowed, for example, the UK, USA and most EU countries? How can they even suggest allowing indoor hospitality to return for vaccinated people only? Surely this will cause a lot of anger, discrimination and an absolute nightmare for business owners to try and control. Many pub and restaurant owners over the past week have been rehiring staff, ordering stock, getting their premises ready. Over the course of this whole pandemic, they've been told numerous times they would be reopening, only to subsequently be delayed every single time. Is it fair to say that there is now a clear anti-pub agenda from NEFA? Lastly, and possibly most importantly, how is there any difference between a busy hotel serving indoors compared to a pub or a restaurant? Is this variant so smart that it knows to avoid busy hotels or just doesn't like busy hotels? It's absolutely ludicrous that a hotel can serve indoors but a pub or restaurant can't. Where is the logic behind this? We now need journalists to step up and ask these questions of NEFA and the government, because to think we're in this situation again, almost 18 months in, it's just an absolute nightmare. And I just genuinely feel so sorry for anyone who owns a pub or a restaurant. Really think this point needs to be brought up on the show. Cheers, Darren.
All right, Darren, thanks very much indeed for your message. So he's asking, for example, for the NEFIT advice to be, second guessed, a second opinion, really. 085 825 2626 is our WhatsApp number. Christine, good morning and welcome to Opinions Matter.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. So this is something that has happened in other countries, where other countries have had a vaccine bonus, if you like. So if you were fully vaccinated, you could go to a bar, restaurant. But it's the first time it's even been talked about here in Ireland. What's your opinion on this?
Oh, absolute madness.
Why?
Absolute madness. I'm a healthcare worker and I'm currently on week 18 waiting for my second AstraZeneca jab.
And when do you expect to get
18
that?
weeks. I have rang HR numerous times, most being yesterday, and a lovely man. I know, not their fault, and he is flabbergasted as to why we haven't been,
okay, so
why we haven't got a second jab.
You got your first jab
24th of February.
Oh my God.
18 weeks ago tomorrow.
And 12 weeks is what was recommended, and then they're bringing it down to 8,
and then 16.
And then
we
down
were told 16 through work, and then down to 8, and now they haven't a clue. Haven't a clue.
So
and there's a lot of us.
Yeah, I was about to say, you got your first vaccine in February and still are waiting for your second, where people like me who got the Pfizer jab got it 4 weeks and a day later.
Yeah. And I mean, like, as I was, the chap that was on talking to me on the phone yesterday said, I'm actually in the cohort now where I could have applied through my age and not through my career.
Yes, and you would have got it. You probably wouldn't have got it quicker. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm still waiting for my second jab. Why should I be penalised? And through no fault of my own, I'm not fully vaccinated. My partner won't be fully vaccinated for a while, as he's a good bit younger than me. Why should he be penalised?
Okay, so this notion of fully vaccinated people.
Control. It's control.
Would you feel that way? Control. Would you feel that way if you yourself were fully vaccinated now?
Oh, definitely. Definitely. My mum is fully vaccinated. My dad is fully vaccinated, and they think it's just crazy. I have many friends who work in the hospitality business, and a very good friend who owns her own pub, and it's just devastating for them. It's devastating for them.
But what's the alternative? When we hear threats that there are going to be 1,000+ cases, increased deaths, a really doomsday scenario. Although it's not likely to be as bad as we would have seen in January. As we're
being told, but then nothing is ever as bad as what they predict either. I mean, this is a country that can't even predict the weather. How can they predict this is going to happen?
Yeah, it's a fair point. Stay there for 1 second if you can, please, Christine. Let me go to Billy. Billy, good morning. You're on Opinions Matter. How are you, Billy?
Good morning, Adrian. Can you hear me?
I can hear you perfectly, Billy. Thank you. What did you want to say on this?
I want to say this. The whole lot is a total rubbish. The whole country should be open, not only the pubs. It's rubbish. Every time they're supposed to open, there's a new variant. And I want to tell you, I was a barman, as you know, for a long time, 25 odd years, right? Mm-hmm. I don't know what they're playing at, and I don't know what publicans they're playing at. I'm not speaking for all the publicans, especially the ones down the country. The family business work hard. I'm going to lose them. But the ones, big pubs up in Dublin are all right. But they're giving, the publicans are a strong lobby. We went to war with them twice. We went on strike when I was in the bar trade for 25 years. And they gave us the bloody nose those times. They're a very strong lobby. And you don't hear much of them. You only hear that tool every now and again, Donald O'Keefe, the LVA Fitness Association, coming out every now and again. The pubs are getting loads of money to stay shut. That's why. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what the government's plan is, but the majority of publicans
but I'm sure if you ask any publican, even if he's getting support from the state, he wants to reopen. He doesn't want to be sitting with a closed bar with dust gathering on the counters.
No, some of them want to reopen, but have you not heard? You haven't heard much of them the last few months. The only time your man comes out is every now and again, Donald. But sure, the publicans is just as strong as the farmers. They could go into Dublin now and cause chaos in Dublin anytime they want, but they haven't. So I don't know what the plan is of the government, but they're getting their payments and they're getting extra payments. Sure, that's why they're very quiet. This silence is deafening from them.
I don't actually agree with you, Billy, that they've been very silent. I've been hearing a fair bit from them over the last couple of days.
But then all they have to do on Monday is, because this is getting ridiculous, all open up. Just open up. Everyone open up. And people are going to say, well, they'll lose their licence when it's coming up for renewals.
Okay, so you want everything opened up and let's take the risk with this virus. Is that what you're saying, Billy?
Well, I'm actually vaccinated now, and I got two of them, and I've been knackered here.
Sorry, we're losing you there, Billy. Your line has gone woeful, unfortunately. 085 825 2626 is our WhatsApp voice note number. Robbie sent us this WhatsApp voice note.
Hi guys, Robbie here. I'm fully vaccinated, but that's got to be the stupidest idea I've ever heard. It'll cause further division among the people. At this point, just open it up, and so we can learn how to live with this bloody virus.
All right, Robbie, thank you. 085 825 2626 is our WhatsApp number. Now, this is a long voice note that we've gotten, but I think it's worth listening to. Sarah is one of our listeners who is listening to us in Bahrain. And she says in Bahrain, things are very different there. Let's have a listen to Sarah.
So basically, I'm currently living abroad at the moment, and it's actually become mandatory here that the vaccine is mandatory for everywhere, for shopping malls, restaurants, bars, basically everything you do. There's someone waiting there at the door to show them that you are fully vaccinated. Now, to be honest, I think a lot of Irish people need to just stop complaining. If they want a normal life again, I think they need to just get on with it. If this is what we have to do to have a normal life again, to live again, like I said, as babies or whatever, we have had vaccines for various things that we hadn't had a say in. I don't see what the big problem is now. I think a lot of the vaccines, such as where I'm living at the moment, the Chinese one, which is the Sinopharm at the moment, I know that's been in for many of years, long before COVID. I think a lot of vaccines have the same sort of way about it, whereas, they've been in for a long period of time, but they've been obviously switched for various reasons due to COVID and different things being put into them, which I think, look, it's in the scientists' hands. They know what we're doing. I'm sorry, but Sharon from, like Blanchardstown, for example, putting her opinion all over Facebook, saying that she knows what's in this vaccine and don't get it and blah, blah, blah. I'm sorry, but I would trust the scientists more than I trust some other person that hasn't a clue about what they're talking about. And I think in regards to that, people should just stop whining and get on with it. Other countries are going to follow. I seen a video a few weeks ago, I think it was in Liverpool, of a fully vaccinated crowd. They were testing it out to see, you know, if we can go ahead with festivals and stuff, you know, for the foreseeable future. And I think that's what it's going to come down to. I think people should just, you know, if they have the opportunity, get it. Don't be stupid. And don't wind down and mope down when, you know, these rules have been come in place to say, look, vaccinated only.
Now, Sarah mentioned she lives in Bahrain, and we were just looking up there that in Bahrain, yes, they have indeed done that. They've rolled out an app, and your vaccine status is on that app, and you have to show a kind of a QR code if you want to get into anywhere, essentially. I mean,
you see, we're looking at this on a practical level. Who polices that stuff? And can you imagine?
Here, if you want to get into a nightclub or a pub, you get asked for ID.
Yeah, but
it's no big deal.
But can restaurants afford to start hiring security staff to stand?
Most of them have them anyway.
Checking apps and stuff like that. And then you're going to have people that will go up that aren't vaccinated just to chance their arm and to cause trouble. I just think it's a recipe for
disaster. So it can work in other countries, but we can't do it, no?
Apparently so.
085 825 2626 is our WhatsApp number. We'd love to hear from you on this. Do you support the idea of having a vaccine passport that will get you into bars and restaurants indoors? And if you don't have one, well, then you stay outdoors with everybody else. Or do you think that this is pure and utter discrimination? Now, Neil, good morning and welcome to Opinions Matter.
Good morning. Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday is right, Neil. How are you today? What did you want to say on this? Do you think this is fair?
Well, look, I think that's where we're going. Fair or not really doesn't matter. It's where we're going. So you got to book in online for a lot of these places now, and I think it's going to be a line that's going to be added into all of these online booking things, all employment contracts, every single contract we sign where we're interacting with people or around people. Are you vaccinated? Tick the box, and then you'll have to put in.
Is that not a huge invasion of people's privacy?
No, it doesn't take. You're free not to get vaccinated. Do you know what I mean? You're free to believe what you want to believe. I know you guys put a post up last week about people's opinions and madness. If people with those opinions don't want to get vaccinated, they are absolutely free to not get vaccinated.
I understand that, but this is where the discrimination comes in. And in fact, I did put up a thing on Twitter earlier on, an opinion poll, and I asked people to answer yes or no. Do they support this idea? Yes, it's a vaccine bonus, or no, it's discrimination. And the vast majority of people said no, this is pure discrimination, and it's very unfair.
Yeah, the issue is going to be as not everyone is vaccinated, so you're automatically throwing at them as we sit right now. Everyone under 40. I got my first dose last Friday. Everyone under 40, if this was to come in tomorrow, is back out on the streets drinking and messing around. So that's a problem. But once you can bring this in, as soon as everyone has had the opportunity to get vaccinated. So I don't know. I think they're bringing it down to, is it 25, 35, whatever it is, with the different types of vaccines. Once the people who are in the problem area have been vaccinated and everyone has been offered the vaccination, then you can bring it in. And then if I'm lucky enough to be a young person at the age of 22, and I choose not to get vaccinated for whatever stupid reason, I'm free to not get vaccinated, but I'm not going to the pub.
But you're barred from the pub.
Yeah, and I'm barred from comedy gigs, I'm barred from music festivals, I'm barred from everything. So it'll make you think about why you made that decision. And if you're happy and you're willing to stick and be a martyr and stick to your guns through nonsense, then that's fine. That's what happens. You're free to do that, free to be stupid. You know what I mean? But we have to. It's a matter of we're either all in it together.
So yeah, but what this strikes me as then is if you aren't vaccinated, maybe not through choice, it hasn't come around to you yet, or you choose not to, then you're going to be punished as being a bold boy or a bold girl.
See, that's the problem. Like again, if you're not vaccinated because it hasn't got to your point yet, because when you were born, that's very unfair. That's beyond unfair. And that's a slightly different topic to discrimination. Like I think what the government are trying to do is they're trying to, whatever the phrase is, have your cake, eat the cake, whatever the cake, something about cake. I can't remember. It's too early in the morning. But they're trying to appease a lot of people. And if they say if you're fully vaccinated, you can do what you want, they're taking care of the people who, let's be honest, young people don't vote. So they don't really care.
Well,
let's just
mind
be
you, I
honest.
would argue with you, the last general election showed that young people can vote when they want to. They were really riled up to vote and did. Okay, so you think that this is where we're heading. We mightn't like it, but that's where we're heading.
100%. Otherwise, we're going down to Sarah in Bahrain. We're going to be scanning QR codes to get into the boozer. It's kind of the way it is. It's about keeping people safe. It's not about, it's not about paranoia or any of this nonsense. It's about protecting people. So, the problem is when you bring this stuff in before everyone has had the choice to get vaccinated. That's the issue.
All right, we appreciate the call. Thanks very much indeed. 085 825 2626 is our WhatsApp number if you want to get involved in this conversation. We're talking about the decision that is being made as we speak by the government, where they have to decide, firstly, is hospitality going to be allowed to reopen next Monday indoors? And it looks very unlikely that it's going to be opening indoors next Monday. But secondly, if hospitality were allowed to reopen, should it just reopen for people who are fully vaccinated? By the way, they are all the questions that are being asked today.
It's not giving them much time, even if a decision is made today. By the way, I don't think it'll be a decision that will go in the favour of the restaurant, sadly. But how does that give you time? I mean, I was talking to a restaurant owner, a friend of mine, who said you need to give the food... The people who deliver the food to you, who deliver your produce, you need to give them at least a week's notice. You also, by the way, your average restaurant, he was telling me, your average restaurant and gastropub needs to spend about 20 grand to get the stock in, to make sure they have enough stock to feed people. It's now Tuesday, and they need to know. Well, they need to know now. They needed to know yesterday.
Yeah, of course. All right. Now, Keith joins us on the line. Keith runs a gastropub in Balbriggan. Keith, good morning and welcome to Opinions Matter.
Morning there, Adrian, sorry.
Keith, your business has been decimated, basically, like an awful lot have.
Yeah, it's been... Well, look, where do I start? I mean, the ball keeps moving. Every time we try to open, when we did get open, it was moved differently. We were told different things to do. I heard one of the guys there saying that we got grants. Yeah, we did get grants, but every grant we've got, we've had to put into our business to try and keep it going.
Okay, so the suggestion from that caller a while ago that this is some sort of a gravy train for the hospitality sector, that you don't care one way or the other if you reopen or not, that's rubbish.
No, it is rubbish. We've a small back area that holds probably 55 people that we can get in. We've spent nearly 10 grand on getting that done, up to scratch and getting it right. I mean, other things that we've done, sanitization, like stuff we had to buy, PPE stuff. And then this morning we get this news that if you're vaccinated, you can drink and have something to eat. But if you're not vaccinated, you have to stand outside. So we have to, virtually say to customers that come in, sorry, where's your vaccination card? I know what they're going to tell me. They're going to tell me to, where to go. I mean, who's going to police this?
You could say that for everything that's been brought in the last year, that they'll tell you where to go if you ask them to put a mask on when they're walking around. People just do it now, don't they?
Yeah, they do it. But I mean, the mask thing, and I have to say, people have to be condemned for what they've been doing. I mean, it's been great. I mean, we've had no hassle here with our customers coming in, putting the mask on, sitting 2 meters apart, sitting a meter and a half apart when that rule was brought in. Then to change to 2 meters, you can stay as long as you want. We had no problem with our customers doing that. But now you're being told, to ask a guy, we no longer want your ID for your age. We want your ID for your vaccination. And your vaccination is, what's the difference of you being vaccinated and the guy next to you not being vaccinated? I mean, if you're sitting 2 meters apart, like we were away the weekend.
It shouldn't make any difference, yeah.
No, okay, except for my wife were away. But, last weekend at a hotel, I won't say it, and it was absolutely thronged. There was thronged. The bar was jammed. You could not... there was all social distance, table service. It was great.
But it was still very busy.
What's the difference? Yeah, but what's the difference of me, serving food and serving a drink to the same people?
Your business at this moment, are you still closed?
No, we're open.
With outdoor dining?
Outdoor dining, but you look at last week, outdoor dining, I might as well have closed. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday were a washout. Who's going to sit out in the wind, rain? And look, I know you've been to Balbriggan.
Yeah.
Wind and rain, the wind coming up from that beach.
Absolutely,
who's going to sit out?
Yeah.
Who's going to sit out? And
I have to say, I was talking to friends of mine who run a restaurant as well, and they're looking at their weather app on a Thursday to see if they're going to have a weekend. And yeah, I suppose when you get the nice weather, it's all well and good, and people are happy enough to sit outside. Sunday, for example, I was sat outside having my dinner. It was very, very pleasant because it was nice and warm. But that's the exception rather than the rule. So it seems very unlikely that you're going to be able to open the doors and invite people in, bar going to the toilet next week. This idea that has been floated, we don't know whether the government are going to run with this or not, but this idea that's being floated about having vaccinated people only in the premises, is it not the same as asking for ID?
No. I mean, can you imagine me asking you, just say you and Jeremy come. You come with Jeremy, go out for a drink and something to eat. You come to the door. How you doing, Adrian? Can I have your, there's your vaccination. And Jeremy doesn't have one. I mean, you take it a husband and wife that are maybe 5 years apart in age, or 3 or 4 years apart in age. One is vaccinated, one is not. So one can go to the pub and have something.
It does seem a little bit silly, it has to be said. But for a lot of people, couples are vaccinated at the same time.
Yeah, no, sorry, he makes a valid point, Adrian, about yourself and myself going out for a meal together. We are sitting in a studio together right now, only a foot apart from each other. We're very, very close. We work together on a daily basis. You're fully vaxxed, I'm not. So we can sit in this office together and work together, yeah, but we can't.
And theoretically, we're not actually meant to be sitting this close. We should have a perspex screen between us.
Calm down there. No, but the point is we can sit together and work together in this office, but we can't go out for a meal together.
No, it does. Okay.
Yeah.
As far as you're concerned, this is not going to be practically done.
Well, it can't be practically done. I mean, it can be practically done if everybody's vaccinated. Yeah, everybody come in, you're vaccinated. But I mean, if you're looking at the 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, all that way up, none of them are vaccinated. So, I mean, they come to the place, you're not getting in. Why? There is absolutely I don't care anyway. It's going to be carnage because you'll have rows, you'll have arguments. Why is he getting served? Where's his vaccination card? And that's what you're going to get. If you go to a pub and ask for ID...
How have they done this in other countries? And other countries have done this very successfully.
Adrian, this is Ireland. This is not any other country. You know what I mean?
That answers it all.
Let's call it spade.
Spade. Yeah, that just says it all.
It says it all. Like Ireland is Ireland. We're a unique country who like our pub trade. Like we like going to the pub. Like I mean, we like going to the pub to sit out, to have a chat, have fun. I mean, and then go home and say, yeah, it was a great night. Not to come and be dictated to and be told, look, sit down, stand up. You can't do this, you can't do that.
So it's not going to work in Ireland. We appreciate your call.
I don't think it's going to work, no.
I appreciate your call, Keith. What's the name of your restaurant? We'll give you a little plug.
Hamlet Bar in Balbriggan.
All right, very good. Best of luck to you, Keith. Thanks very much indeed.
Thanks, cheers, God bless. Bye-bye.
085 825 2626 is our WhatsApp number. Here's a WhatsApp voice note from Dave, who's a little bit frustrated.
Lads, I'm absolutely sick to death of listening to the government at this stage. We're nearly there now, lads. Oh no, wait, no, we're not. Another 6 weeks. Oh no, this is it now. This is the end of the lights at the end of the tunnel. Oh no, wait now. Oh no, 4 weeks more now. Here we are now. Everyone's getting vaccinated. Everything's going to be back to normal now by the end of August. Oh no, hang on, no. It's another 2 weeks. I'm absolutely sick to death of listening to this government all the time. We're the only place in Europe now that you can't actually go out for a pint or go to sit down at McDonald's with the kids or whatever. It's an absolute shit show of a performance by the government. It's ridiculous.
Oh, he is frustrated. 085 825 2626 is our WhatsApp number if you want to give your opinion on this. As we said, we don't know what the government is going to announce today. It seems certain that they're not going to allow indoor hospitality to reopen next Monday, which was the original plan. That seems very unlikely at this stage.
Are they? I assume they're making their decisions based on modelling from NEFIT.
And the modelling is fairly grim.
Okay,
that's just the reality of it.
But we don't have any real world figures at the moment. Sure, we don't. We don't have any exact figures to say that if we open indoor dining. By the way, we're the only country in Europe that doesn't have indoor dining.
No, I'm aware of that. Yeah.
And it looks, when you look at the map that's doing the rounds on social media and you see every other country in Europe allowing indoor dining, and then this little spot on the edge of the Atlantic, and that's us, and that doesn't allow indoor dining. What do they think is going to happen if restaurants open on Monday? Because
they're terrified. I'll tell you what they're terrified of. If you remember back in January...
It's not the same.
But hang on for 1 second. Back in January, we had the highest COVID rate in the world. We were the worst in the world per head of population.
Do you not think people are meeting indoors anyway for meals? Do you not think people are meeting indoors for parties, for birthday parties, for Sunday dinners? Because I see the photographs on social media every day. They're doing it anyway.
Okay, let's bring in one more call. If you want to throw your tuppence worth into this conversation, your opinion matters to us. Send us a WhatsApp to 085 825 2626. Do you support the idea of enabling indoor hospitality to reopen for vaccinated people only? Because that's what's being looked at. Who am I going to? Celine is on the line. Celine, good morning and welcome to Opinions Matter.
Morning. Yeah, I just think it is very unfair because I actually can't have it. I'm not allowed to take the vaccine.
You're not allowed to take the vaccine?
I'm not allowed to take it, no.
Do you mind me asking? For medical reasons, okay. So you will not be vaccinated against this virus. Does that not make you feel a little bit vulnerable then, that you may not want to go into a restaurant or whatever to have your dinner?
No, I do. Like, I have been safe. I've never been actually tested for COVID, thank God. I've really kept me decent. I wear my mask, everything. Like, but I don't see why I shouldn't. Like, I should be allowed in. You know what I mean?
Even if it's making you more vulnerable and more at risk.
Yeah. Because I'm fed up being in as well. Like,
no, we
I'm
all
also
are,
I have
yeah.
to you know what I mean? Working in the healthcare as well. Like, I'm the only one in the job that still has to wear all the gear, all the PPE gear because I'm not vaccinated.
All right, where your colleagues are.
Yeah, yeah.
And, okay, so this idea of allowing indoor hospitality to reopen for fully vaccinated people, and I said already, this has been done in other countries around the world. It's not like this is a brand new idea. This has happened. But you think it would be very unfair on somebody like you who, for medical reasons, can't get the vaccine?
Yeah, and it's the same for even for travelling. Like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to have to go back now to the GP. Do I have to get a letter or anything like that now for me to travel?
Well, you'd have
That's what I want. I'm not planning on travelling anything.
You would have to at least get a PCR test if you want to travel.
Oh, yeah, I have to get that as well, yeah. Well, he did say something about me having some sort of a letter stating why. Doesn't have to put down everything, but just to say that I'm not allowed to have it.
Right, okay. So it's a very uncertain time, but the mere idea of discriminating against you because you can't have the vaccine, you think is very unfair?
It is. I mean, I've been out in my local pub. You know, there's only 6 allowed. Well, you have to be in your own bubble, like, but only 6 at a table. Now, they've been very strict, but it's been very good. So I can't see why they can't do that as well for dining.
But this is outdoors, though.
I know there's indoors in the pub.
Oh, they've let you in?
Oh, yeah, yeah. Oh, no, sorry, not indoor. Yeah, sorry to smoke it out, but, like, we're still kind of close in a bit.
Right,
like,
okay, yeah. You're not actually in the pub itself, yeah.
No, sorry.
All right, so it would be very unfair. And it has to be noted that there are some people like yourself for various different reasons who can't have this vaccine, and it does seem a little bit unfair on somebody like you.
Like, it's not my choice. Like, if I had my way, I would actually take it. But I just can't.
All right, I appreciate the call. Thanks very much indeed for your call, Celine. 085 825 2626 is our WhatsApp number if you want to throw your tuppence worth in. Gavin sent us this WhatsApp voice note.
Good morning, Adrian and Jeremy. I just wanted to say that the whole bonus about the vaccine is that you won't die from getting COVID. That's the bonus. The chances of you getting into hospital is virtually eliminated. Like, we're the only country now in Europe that doesn't have indoor dining. I mean, even up north, I've had it for ages. Not everybody up there is vaccinated. Not everybody all over Europe is vaccinated. The whole notion of a bonus just isn't practical and just won't work. Thanks, guys. Bye.
All right, Gav, thanks very much indeed. And we'll squeeze in one more WhatsApp voice note. This is Stephen.
It's part of the New World Order, lads. Laugh if you want. The conspiracy freaks were right. So, like that woman said, everything in Bahrain is correct, and Israel, and it's coming here. Leo Varadkar said he's going to copy off Israel. Everyone will eventually. That's what they want. But it's up to us, and only us. Because she has the wrong answer by saying, oh, just get over it, don't listen to Sharon. No. That's how Bahrain ended up like that. And we will as well if we just keep bending over. Open your pubs on Monday, everyone. Just do it.
Just do it, he says.
Not practical at all.
I don't know if they are going to, because if they just do it, will people go? Well, some people will go, I suppose.
That's not the issue. And Stephen, you're obviously not a businessman. You don't run a business, because you don't understand that if you own a pub or restaurant, you need a license, especially for a pub, and that license has to get renewed. And when that goes up it's the local superintendent, I think, that has to sign off on that license. So if you own Kelly's Pub or Kennedy's Pub on Grafton Street, okay, and Adrian decides on Monday, screw the government, I'm going to serve food inside, and he's serving his pork pies inside, and the place is packed and all that. The guards will come knocking on his door, and they'll ask him to remove all the customers, and he's going to have to do that then. And then when Adrian's licence comes up for Kennedy's Pub for renewal, the guards will object to that licence.
We've already seen that happen.
They
with
did
that
it
bar.
with Berlin D2.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
So you can't. Yeah. As much as you don't want to roll behind the government, you have to, unfortunately.
All right, we wait with bated breath to see what decision the government actually make today. This is Opinions Matter.